You are living in a condemned building. Take a look around. Not with your eyes, but with your soul. Look at the structure of your life, the architecture of your identity. From the street, it might look passable. A fresh coat of paint, some neatly trimmed hedges of social conformity. But you know the truth. You feel it every day in the creak of the floorboards and the chill draft that seeps through the cracks. The foundation is crumbling. The walls are hollow. The roof leaks every time a storm rolls in. This self you inhabit, this personality you've constructed from second-hand materials of past experiences and other people's opinions, is no longer safe. It was built for a different time, for a person you no longer are, or perhaps, for a person you were never meant to be at all. It was built for shelter, not for greatness. It was designed to keep you small and safe, to protect you from the terrifying expanse of your own potential. And it has done its job perfectly. It has become a prison disguised as a home. You patch the cracks with excuses. You cover the water stains with distraction. You tell yourself the groaning of the support beams is just the house settling. You lie to yourself. You lie because the alternative is too terrifying to contemplate. The alternative is the truth. The entire structure must be demolished. Not renovated. Not remodeled. Demolished. Razed to the ground, down to the very last splinter of wood and shard of glass. Every weak wall of your bad habits, every rotten floorboard of your limiting beliefs, every cracked window of your distorted perception must be brought down. The person you are right now cannot be salvaged. They are the product of a faulty design, and any attempt to build upon this failing structure will only lead to a more spectacular collapse down the road. You have to stop being a repairman for a ruin and become a demolition expert. The first swing of the sledgehammer is the most difficult. It is the moment of brutal honesty where you finally admit to yourself, this is not working. This is not who I am. This structure can no longer bear the weight of the person I am meant to become. You are trying to house the soul of a giant in the dwelling of a pygmy, and the strain is tearing you apart. That anxiety you feel? That's the sound of the foundation cracking. That depression? That's the feeling of the roof caving in. Your spirit is telling you, in the only language it knows, that it is time to evaluate. It is time to tear it down. The demolition will not be clean. It will not be quiet. It will be a violent, chaotic, and messy process. It will kick up the dust of your past. It will expose the rot and the decay you have tried so hard to hide. It will leave you, for a time, standing in a field of rubble, with no shelter, exposed to the elements. And this is what you fear most. The void. The emptiness. The moment between the end of the old and the beginning of the new. But you must understand this, that field of rubble is not an ending. It is the beginning. It is the cleared ground upon which something magnificent can be built. You cannot build a skyscraper where a shack currently stands. The demolition is not an act of destruction. It is the first, most crucial act of creation. You have to be willing to end the life you have to begin the life you want. You have to be willing to break the person you are to build the person you can be. This is the law of transformation. From ruin comes rebirth. From chaos comes order. From the demolition of your old, weak, and frightened self comes the space to build a stronger one. So pick up the sledgehammer. Take a deep breath. And take the first swing. The sound of that first impact will be the most terrifying and the most liberating sound you have ever heard. It is the sound of your own freedom. The fear of demolition is the fear of the unknown. You stand before the crumbling structure of your life, sledgehammer in hand, and you hesitate. Your mind, that masterful architect of self-preservation, floods you with 1,000 reasons to put the hammer down. What if you can't build anything better? It whispers. What if you end up with nothing but a pile of rubble? At least this ruin is a shelter. At least it's familiar. The familiar. That is the siren song of mediocrity. The comfortable, predictable misery of the known is always less terrifying than the magnificent, uncertain possibility of the unknown. Your fear is not of the rubble. Your fear is that you are not a capable builder. You have spent so long living in a house designed by others, your parents, your teachers, your society, that you have come to believe you have no architectural vision of your own. You have only ever been a tenant in your own life, never the owner, never the creator. And now you are being asked to become the master architect and the master builder of a new reality. Of course, you are afraid. Any sane person would be. But you are not being asked to be fearless. You are being asked to be courageous. Fearlessness is a myth. Courage is feeling the terror and acting anyway. It is your commitment to the blueprint of the stronger self being greater than your fear of the construction process. The demolition will mean letting go. You will have to let go of the stories you tell yourself, the comfortable narratives that explain away your lack of progress. The story that you're just not a morning person. The story that you're not good with money. The story that you have bad genetics. These stories are the load-bearing walls of your current identity. To knock them down is to feel a terrifying loss of self. You will have to face the void, the space where the old story used to be, and you will have to consciously choose to write a new one. This is the work. People will not understand. They will see your demolition as an act of madness. The people who were comfortable visiting you in your dilapidated shack will be horrified when they see you swinging a wrecking ball. What are you doing? They will cry. You're destroying everything. Be careful. Be realistic. They are not trying to harm you. They are trying to protect their own reality. Your radical act of self-creation is a threat to their own quiet compromise. If you can demolish your life and build a new one, it means they could too. And that is a truth they are not ready to face. So they will project their fear onto you. They will call you reckless. They will call you selfish. You must be prepared to be misunderstood. The demolition requires you to become deaf to the well-meaning warnings of those who are content to live in their own condemned buildings. You must trust the structural engineer of your own soul. You must trust that the ache you feel, the deep dissatisfaction with your current state, is not a sign of malfunction, but a sign of a healthy spirit demanding a better home. You fear the mess. Demolition is not a tidy process. It creates dust, debris, and chaos. Your life will get messier before it gets cleaner. You might have to retreat from social circles. Your finances might get tighter as you invest in your own reconstruction. Your carefully balanced routines will be shattered. This period of chaos is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that the demolition is working. You have to be willing to tolerate the mess, to live in the construction site of your own life, knowing that the temporary chaos is the necessary price for a permanent and powerful new structure. Stop patching the holes. Stop pretending the cracks aren't there. Stop wasting your energy on the cosmetic repairs of a building that is structurally unsound. The only sane, the only courageous, the only truly creative act available to you right now is to tear it all down. Embrace the fear. Welcome the chaos. The rubble is not your grave. It is your birthplace. Your stronger self is waiting to be built, but it cannot begin to rise until the old one has completely fallen. The demolition begins not with a physical act, but with a mental and spiritual one. The wrecking ball that will bring down the faulty structure of your old self is the absolute, uncompromising force of brutal honesty. You must be willing to look at yourself with a clarity that is painful, to see yourself not as you wish you were, or as you pretend to be, but as you actually are. You must conduct a fearless and thorough inventory of your own life, a structural assessment of your own character. This is the first and most crucial stage of the demolition. You must take a sledgehammer to your own denial. Where are you weak? Not where do you have areas for improvement, but where are you fundamentally, pathetically weak? You must name it. Procrastination. Laziness. Cowardice. Envy. Name the demons. Drag them out of the shadows of your subconscious and into the harsh light of your conscious mind. To see the weakness is the first step in demolishing it. As long as it remains a vague, unnamed feeling, it has power over you. When you name it, you claim power over it. You must tear down the walls of your excuses. Take every single reason you have for why you are not where you want to be in life and examine it. Is it a reason, or is it an excuse? A reason is an external factor you cannot control. An excuse is an internal story you tell yourself to absolve you of responsibility. 99% of your reasons are excuses in disguise. I don't have time. That is a lie. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. What you mean is, it is not a priority. That is the truth. I don't have the money. Is that an absolute truth, or have you failed to be creative, resourceful, and disciplined with what you have? You must attack these excuses with a ferocious intensity until they crumble into the dust of their own falsehood. The demolition requires you to take absolute ownership. You must accept that you are the architect of your current circumstances. The state of your body, your bank account, your relationships, it is all a direct result of your choices, your standards, and your actions. No more blaming your parents. No more blaming the economy. No more blaming your past. The moment you stop blaming and start accepting responsibility is the moment you take back your power. Blame is the act of giving your power away. Ownership is the act of reclaiming it. You cannot build a new future as long as you are a prisoner of your past. You must take a flamethrower to your own victim narrative. Yes, you may have been wronged. Yes, you may have experienced injustice. That pain is real. But to allow that pain to define your entire identity is to give the people who hurt you a permanent victory. The victim story is a warm, comfortable blanket of moral superiority. It feels good to be the one who was wronged. But it is a trap. It keeps you passive. It keeps you weak. To demolish this story is to forgive. Not for them, but for you. Forgiveness is the act of taking the key to your own prison out of your tormentor's pocket and placing it in your own. It is the declaration that your future is more important than your history of pain. This process of truth is the real demolition. It is the internal work that makes the external change possible. It requires more courage than any physical feat. It is the courage to look in the mirror and not flinch. The courage to see the parts of yourself that you are ashamed of. The courage to admit that the person most responsible for your limitations is you. But once you have done this, once you have brought the full force of truth to bear on the rotten structure of your old self, it cannot remain standing. It will collapse under the weight of its own inauthenticity. And you will be left, standing in the light, ready to build something true, something solid, something strong. You stand now in the aftermath, a field of rubble stretching before you. The demolition is complete. The old structure of your life, with its comfortable lies and familiar weaknesses, has been torn down. This is the moment of truth. This is where most people panic. They see the chaos, the dust, the debris of their former selves, and they mistake it for failure. They scramble to rebuild the same old shack, using the same broken materials, desperate for any kind of shelter from the terrifying openness of a cleared foundation. But you must be different. You must see this rubble not as waste, but as a resource. This is the raw material of your past, and it contains invaluable lessons for the construction of your future. Your task now is to sift. To become an archaeologist of your own destruction. You must patiently, deliberately, sort through the wreckage of your old self, not to mourn it, to salvage the wisdom hidden within it. Pick up a piece of the rubble. Look at it. This piece is a past failure. Do not discard it in shame. Examine it. Why did this part of the structure fail? Was the material weak? Was the design flawed? Was it subjected to a stress it was not built to withstand? The failure itself is not the lesson. The lesson is in the why. Contained within every failure is the blueprint for a future success. The person who is afraid to analyze their failures is doomed to repeat them. The builder who ignores the reason for a past collapse will build the same weakness into their new design. You must become a master student of your own mistakes. Another piece of the rubble is a past heartbreak. The pain of it is still sharp. It is tempting to bury it, to pretend it never happened. Do not. That heartbreak taught you something about your own needs, your own boundaries, your own capacity to love and to heal. It exposed the weaknesses in your emotional architecture. Sift through that pain and find the strength it created. Find the resilience it forged. That heartbreak can become a cornerstone of your new emotional fortress, a reminder of the kind of structure that you will never again allow to be built on your land. In the debris, you will find the shards of your old excuses. Look at them. See how thin they are, how easily they shatter. Recognize them for the flimsy materials they were. By seeing them for what they are, you vaccinate yourself against ever using them again. You will develop a connoisseur's eye for quality materials, and you will never again mistake the particle board of an excuse for the solid oak of a reason. Sifting through the rubble is also about identifying what was strong. Not everything about your old self was weak. Buried in the wreckage, you will find beams of integrity that did not break. You will find pillars of courage that remain standing. You will find moments of resilience, of kindness, of discipline. These are the materials you must salvage. These are the parts of your past that will be integrated into your new design. The demolition was not about erasing yourself, it was about purifying yourself. It was about separating the strong from the weak, the true from the false. The process of sifting is an act of self-reclamation. You are reclaiming the narrative of your own life. You are no longer defined by the collapse. You are defined by your ability to learn from it, to salvage from it, and to build from it. This is the alchemy of personal transformation, turning the lead of your past failures into the gold of your future strength. Do not rush this process. The quality of your future foundation depends entirely on the quality of your sifting. The more honest you are about why the old structure failed, the stronger your new one will be. The rubble holds all the secrets. It is your instruction manual for what not to do. It is your library of cautionary tales. It is the soil from which a stronger self will grow. So get on your hands and knees. Get the dust on your face. Sift through the wreckage of who you were, and with patience and wisdom, gather the materials you will need to become who you are meant to be. A skyscraper is only as strong as its foundation. You can have the most brilliant architectural design, the most advanced materials, the most skilled workforce, but if the foundation is weak, the entire structure is destined for a catastrophic failure. The construction of your stronger self begins not with the glamorous work of raising the walls, but with the slow, deep, unglamorous work of laying a new foundation. This is the most important phase of the build, and it is the one that most people rush. Your new foundation is not made of concrete and steel. It is made of your principles, your values, and your non-negotiable standards. These are the bedrock upon which your new identity will be built. Before you lay a single brick of a new habit, you must first decide what your new life will stand for. What are your core values? Not the values you think you should have, not the ones that sound good in a conversation, but the ones that resonate in the deepest part of your being. Honesty? Courage? Discipline? Compassion? Growth? Choose no more than 5. These are the pillars of your new temple. Write them down. Memorize them. Meditate on them. They are your new constitution, the supreme law of your new inner nation. Every future decision you make must be filtered through these values. If an action aligns with your values, you do it. If it does not, you do not. It is that simple and that difficult. The next layer of the foundation is your standards. Your life, right now, is a perfect reflection of your current standards. The level of clutter in your home, the amount of money in your bank account, the quality of your relationships, it is all a result of what you are willing to tolerate. To build a stronger self, you must raise your standards. You must stop tolerating mediocrity from yourself. You must decide on a new baseline for what is acceptable in every area of your life. Your old standard was, I'll work out when I feel like it. Your new, non-negotiable standard is, I move my body with intensity for 1 hour every single day, no matter what. Your old standard was, I'll be honest as long as it's convenient. Your new standard is, I will tell the truth, even when it is difficult, especially when it is difficult. These are not goals. Goals are things you aim for in the future. Standards are who you are right now. They are the rules of your new identity. Laying this foundation is the work of discipline. It is the act of mixing the concrete of your intentions with the clean water of your daily actions. Every time you act in accordance with your new values and standards, you are pouring another section of the foundation. Every time you choose the difficult right over the easy wrong, you are adding another layer of rebar, making the structure stronger, more resilient. This is the work no one sees. There are no immediate results. You can pour a foundation for months, and from the street, it will look like nothing is happening. This is the test of your faith and your patience. You are working deep in the earth, preparing the ground for the ascent that is to come. You must trust the process. You must trust that this foundational work is the most critical investment you will ever make. Without it, any new habits you try to build will be like building a house of cards on a bed of sand. They will collapse at the first sign of a storm. But with a deep, solid, well-cured foundation of values and standards, the structure you build upon it can withstand anything. It can withstand the storms of failure, the earthquakes of heartbreak, and the hurricanes of external criticism. So do the deep work. Excavate the soft, marshy ground of your old compromises. Dig down to the bedrock of your deepest truth. Decide what you stand for. Define what you will no longer tolerate from yourself. And then, day by day, choice by choice, pour the concrete. Mix it with the sweat of your discipline and the integrity of your actions. Build a foundation so strong that the only direction you can possibly build from it is up. The foundation is set. The ground is solid. Now, the construction begins. Now, you begin the slow, deliberate, and deeply satisfying work of raising the walls of your new self, brick by brick. Each brick is an action. Each brick is a habit. Each brick is a promise kept. This is the architecture of strength. The stronger one you are building is not a product of a single, heroic act. It is the cumulative result of thousands of small, consistent, disciplined choices. Do not be deceived by the simplicity of the brick. In isolation, it seems insignificant. One workout will not transform your body. 1 hour of study will not make you an expert. One act of courage will not make you a hero. But 1,000 workouts, 1,000 hours of study, 1,000 acts of courage, that is how a fortress is built. That is how a new identity is forged. You must fall in love with the process of laying bricks. You must find a profound satisfaction in the simple, repetitive act of doing the work, day in and day out. The world is obsessed with the finished building, the grand unveiling. But the master builder is obsessed with the craft of masonry. He finds joy in the feel of the brick, the perfect consistency of the mortar, the precision of a level line. He knows that the quality of the final structure is determined by the quality of each individual brick he lays. This is the mindset you must adopt. Today, your only job is to lay today's bricks perfectly. Do not worry about the bricks you will have to lay tomorrow. Do not lament the poorly laid bricks of yesterday. Be present. Be focused. Lay today's bricks with all the excellence you can muster. What are these bricks? They are the small, fundamental habits that form the structure of a powerful life. The brick of waking up early. The brick of hydrating your body. The brick of moving with intensity. The brick of nourishing yourself with clean fuel. The brick of reading. The brick of meditation or prayer. The brick of planning your day. These are not glamorous actions. They will not get you applause. But they are the load-bearing walls of a high-performance life. Neglect them, and the entire structure will be unstable. The construction requires a blueprint. You cannot simply start laying bricks at random. You must have a plan. This is your vision for the stronger self you are building. What does this person look like? How do they act? What skills do they possess? You must have this vision so clearly defined in your mind that it becomes your architectural drawing. Each day, you consult the blueprint, and you lay the bricks that will bring that vision one step closer to reality. Your vision says you are financially strong. Today's bricks are budgeting, tracking your expenses, and making one extra sales call. Your vision says you are wise. Today's bricks are reading for an hour and writing down what you learned. Your vision says you are physically powerful. Today's bricks are the workout, the healthy meal, and 8 hours of sleep. The action is guided by the vision. There will be days you don't feel like laying bricks. The mortar will feel heavy. Your hands will be tired. The sun will be hot. This is where your discipline, the foundation you have built, comes into play. Your feelings are irrelevant. The blueprint does not care about your mood. The laws of physics do not care if you are motivated. The construction schedule must be met. You do the work not because you feel like it, but because you are a builder. It is who you are. It is what you do. You show up and you lay the bricks. As you continue to build, you will begin to see progress. The walls will start to rise. A structure will begin to take shape where there was once only a foundation. This progress is the fuel that will sustain you. You are creating evidence of your own capability. You are proving to yourself, brick by brick, that you are the kind of person who can build a new reality. The old self, the one who lived in the condemned building, could never have done this. With every brick you lay, you are becoming someone new. You are not just building a structure. You are building a character. You are building a legacy. You are building a fortress of self-respect that is so solid, so well constructed, that no external force can ever tear it down. So pick up the next brick. Apply the mortar of your focus. And lay it perfectly. It is the only thing that matters right now. As the walls of your new self begin to rise, you must prepare for the storms. The universe has a way of testing every new structure. It will send the wind and the rain and the lightning to see if what you have built is true, to see if it is strong. These storms are not a punishment. They are a necessary part of the process. A building that has never been tested by a storm cannot be trusted. A character that has never been forged in adversity cannot be called strong. The first storm will be the storm of internal resistance. As you move further away from your old self, the ghost of that person will begin to fight back. This is the last, desperate rebellion of your old identity. It will flood you with doubt. It will tempt you with the memory of old comforts. It will scream at you that you are a fraud, that you are going to fail, that you should retreat to the safety of the ruin you once called home. You must weather this storm not by fighting back, but by anchoring yourself to your new foundation. You must hold fast to your values, your standards, and the evidence of the work you have already done. You must trust the structure you are building. The storm of doubt will pass, and when it does, you will find that the walls have held, and your conviction is stronger than ever. The next storm will be the storm of external criticism. We have spoken of this. The people who were invested in your old self will see your new structure rising, and it will frighten them. They will become the howling winds of gossip, the driving rain of mockery, the lightning strikes of judgment. They will try to find cracks in your new walls. They will try to convince you that your building is an abomination. You must learn to see their criticism not as an attack, but as a weather report. It is a sign that a storm is passing through. You do not argue with a hurricane. You do not try to reason with a tornado. You ensure your structure is sound, you lock the doors, and you wait for it to pass. The strength of your building is your only reply. The third, and perhaps most relentless, storm will be the storm of failure. You will make mistakes in your construction. You will lay a course of bricks crookedly and have to tear it down and start again. You will misread the blueprint and have to make costly corrections. You will attempt to build a new part of yourself, a new skill, a new business, and it will collapse. This is not a sign that you are a bad builder. It is a sign that you are an ambitious one. The only builders who never make mistakes are the ones who only build sheds. To build a skyscraper is to court the possibility of spectacular failure. You must learn to embrace these failures as stress tests. When a part of your structure fails, it is not a tragedy. It is an opportunity. It is the universe showing you exactly where you need to reinforce your design, where you need to use stronger materials, where you need to deepen your foundation. Each failure, when properly analyzed, makes the final structure more resilient, more robust, more unbreakable. To build a stronger self is to become a master of weathering storms. It is to develop a quiet, unshakable confidence that is born not of an easy life, but of a difficult one. Strength is not the absence of storms. Strength is the ability to stand in the heart of the hurricane, your feet planted firmly on the foundation you have built, and to know, with a certainty that quiets the wind itself, that you will not be moved. You will not be broken. When the storm passes, you will still be here. And you will be ready to continue the build, a little bit wiser, a little bit tougher, and a whole lot stronger than before. A fortress can be impenetrable from the outside, but if the interior is empty, cold, and dark, it is not a home, it is just a prison of a different kind. As you raise the strong exterior walls of your new self, you must simultaneously engage in the equally important work of the interior design of your soul. A truly strong person is not just tough on the outside, they are peaceful, purposeful, and whole on the inside. This is the difference between being hardened and being strong. A hardened person builds thick walls to keep the world out, but they live in a state of constant internal siege, ruled by fear and bitterness. A strong person builds a powerful structure, but they furnish the inside with light, with wisdom, and with compassion. The first piece of furniture you must install is the throne of self-respect. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is the loud, insecure bragging of someone who is trying to convince themselves of their own worth. Self-respect is the quiet, unshakable dignity of someone who knows their worth is not up for debate. You build this self-respect by keeping the promises you make to yourself, by living in alignment with your values, by refusing to tolerate less than you deserve from yourself and from others. It is the internal crown that you place upon your own head. You must then hang the mirrors of self-awareness. You must cultivate the practice of introspection, of constantly and honestly observing your own thoughts, emotions, and motivations without judgment. These mirrors are not for vanity, they are for truth. They allow you to see where your internal reality is out of alignment with your chosen blueprint. They show you the dust of your old ego accumulating in the corners. They reveal the cracks in your emotional composure. To be strong is to be willing to see yourself clearly, warts and all, so that you can continue the work of refinement. Next, you must light the fires of purpose. A building without a source of heat is a cold and lifeless place. Your purpose is the central hearth of your new self. It is the why that fuels all of your what. It is the reason you endure the storms, the reason you do the hard work, the reason you get up in the morning. You must tend to this fire daily. You must feed it with actions that align with your mission. You must protect it from the cold winds of doubt and cynicism. When your life is warmed by the fire of a clear and compelling purpose, the darkness of despair cannot find a foothold. You must cultivate the gardens of peace. A fortress under constant attack from within is not a place of strength. You must learn to cultivate inner stillness. Through practices like meditation, time in nature, and quiet contemplation, you must create spaces within yourself that are untouched by the chaos of the external world. This inner peace is not a state of passivity, it is the source of your greatest power. From a place of stillness, you can make clear decisions. From a place of peace, you can respond to challenges with wisdom instead of reacting with fear. The windows of your new self must be made of the clear glass of perspective. You must learn to see the world and your place in it with a broader, more compassionate view. You must understand that your struggles are not unique, that failure is a universal human experience, that everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. This perspective prevents your strength from turning into cruelty. It infuses your power with empathy. It allows the light of the outside world to illuminate your inner space. The demolition of your old self was about tearing down a prison. The construction of your new self is not about building a better prison. It is about building a temple. A temple dedicated to your highest values. A temple where your truest self can reside in peace and power. A temple that is not only a fortress against the storms of life, but also a sanctuary of light and warmth for your own soul and for those you choose to let inside. The ultimate purpose of building a stronger self is not merely for your own benefit. A skyscraper that is empty, that serves no one, is just a monument to ego. A fortress that only protects itself is a symbol of fear. The final stage of your construction is to transform your new self from a private dwelling into a public landmark. It is to become a source of strength, of inspiration, and of service to others. Your journey of demolition and reconstruction has been a difficult and solitary one. You have faced your demons, you have conquered your weaknesses, you have built a structure of character that can withstand the storms. You have done this for yourself, and that is a noble and necessary achievement. But the work is not complete until you turn your personal victory into a public offering. Your story is now your greatest asset. The story of your collapse and your rebuilding, the story of your struggle and your triumph, this is a story that can give hope to others who are still trapped in their own condemned buildings. You must not be ashamed of the rubble of your past. You must not hide the scars of your construction. They are your credentials. They are the proof that transformation is possible. To share your story with vulnerability and honesty is to hand a sledgehammer to someone else who is still hesitating. You become a landmark by being a beacon of light. Your disciplined life, your unwavering integrity, your resilience in the face of adversity, these things shine. In a world of crumbling shacks and compromising inhabitants, your solid structure stands out. People will be drawn to it. They will be inspired by it. They will not always know why, but they will feel the power and the authenticity emanating from you. You do not need to preach. You do not need to lecture. Your example is the sermon. Your life is the lesson. To be a landmark is to become a shelter for others. Because you have built a strong interior, because you have cultivated a space of peace and wisdom within yourself, you now have the capacity to offer shelter to others during their own storms. You can listen without judgment. You can offer perspective without arrogance. You can be a source of calm in their chaos. You are no longer a person who is constantly seeking help, you have become a person who is capable of giving it. Your strength is no longer just for you, it is a resource for your community, for your family, for the world. This is the true meaning of a powerful life. It is not about personal gain, it is about contribution. It is not about accumulation, it is about distribution. The skyscraper justifies its existence by housing thousands of people, by facilitating commerce and creation, by becoming an integral part of the city's skyline. Your stronger self justifies its existence by the positive impact it has on the lives it touches. As you transition into this phase of service, you will discover the final, most beautiful secret of this process. The more you give your strength away, the stronger you become. The more you use your building to shelter others, the more resilient its walls become. The more you share the light from your inner fire, the brighter that fire burns. Your personal project of self-construction becomes a collective project of world improvement. You are no longer just building yourself. You are building a better future. So look at the structure you have built. Is it a monument to yourself, or is it a lighthouse for others? Is it a private fortress, or is it a public square? The demolition of your old self was a selfish act, and it had to be. It was about your survival, your escape. But the construction of your new self must be a selfless act. It must be about what you can build, who you can serve, and the legacy you will leave behind. That is the final, glorious stage of the build. That is how you become not just strong, but great. The construction is never finished. This is the final and most liberating truth. The moment you believe you have arrived, the moment you put down your tools and admire your work as a completed project, is the moment the decay begins. A structure that is not maintained, that is not improved, that is not expanded upon, will inevitably begin to crumble under the relentless pressure of time and entropy. Your stronger self is not a static destination, it is a dynamic, living, breathing process of becoming stronger still. The master builder does not finish a skyscraper and then retire. The completion of one project is merely the training ground for the next, more ambitious one. Your life is a series of constructions, each one building upon the last, each one reaching a little higher, each one more complex and beautiful than the one before. You must remain a student for life. The moment you declare yourself a master, you cease to be one. You must maintain a white belt mentality, always seeking to learn, to grow, to be humbled. You must constantly be assessing your own structure, looking for new weaknesses that have been revealed by new challenges. You must be willing to engage in continuous demolition and reconstruction on a smaller scale, tearing down a single room that is no longer serving you, rebuilding a wall with newer, stronger materials of wisdom you have recently acquired. The process is fractal. The grand demolition of your old self will be followed by a lifetime of smaller, more precise renovations. Complacency is the rust that will corrode the steel beams of your discipline. You must remain vigilant. You must stay hungry. The comfort you have earned through your hard work is a dangerous reward. You must learn to enjoy it without becoming soft, to inhabit your new, strong home without becoming a prisoner of its comfort. You must constantly be seeking new challenges, new storms to weather, new mountains to climb. The purpose of building a strong structure is not to hide from the weather, it is to be able to withstand more powerful storms. The purpose of becoming strong is not to have an easy life, it is to be capable of handling a more difficult, and therefore more meaningful, one. Your potential is not a finite resource that you use up. It is a muscle that grows stronger with use. The more you demand of yourself, the more capable you become. The ceiling of your potential rises with every floor you add to your building. Look at the skyline of your own life. Do you see a single, finished tower? Or do you see a vibrant, growing city with new construction projects constantly underway? A city that is always evolving, always reaching, always becoming more than it was before. This is the vision you must hold. You are not just building a single self, you are the master planner and chief architect of the entire metropolis of your own existence. The demolition of your old self was the necessary clearing of a blighted slum. The construction of your new self is the first beautiful skyscraper in a city that will one day touch the clouds. There is always more to build. There is always a higher standard to reach. There is always a deeper level of purpose to uncover. This is not a burden, it is a blessing. It means your life will never be boring. It means your capacity for growth and contribution is limitless. It means the adventure is never over. So do not put your tools away. Sharpen them. Refine them. Teach others how to use them. Look at your blueprint and draw up the plans for the next addition, the next wing, the next tower. The work has just begun. The demolition of your old self was the end of your prologue. The construction of a stronger one is the beginning of your epic. Now, pick up your hammer. There is a new day to build.